Folks, today has been nothing if not exciting. It has been action-packed, and I don't expect things to change. We are going now into Aqualix versus Karn Co. If you thought the last match, Cookies, was good, Aqualix versus Karn Co, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Oh, I can't wait to see what happens this game. I'm sure I'm gonna nail what happens in this one. I'm sure.
As long as we didn't all vote the same way, then we should have a good match. But either way, let's start with Aqualix. This team, a lot of the same names, different play though this year.
Different indeed. This team reminds me of the old SH roster a little bit. Psycho and Afer coming from there, inheriting some of the benefits from that old roster, except you now have the Gasher twist, which is actually a good thing now because Gasher's the GOAT. Also, Rice, his numbers aren't crazy. He's not like plus 1 million or anything. But Rice has been cited as a player that can bring Aqualix back in lost rounds. That might come in handy today. Slimy Nick, the greatest name in CL. And of course, Afer, right behind Kento in terms of being one of the more elite entries in the league. One of the more pleasant. It's not really a surprise because he's always kind of been there. But he gotten outshined by other more pressing names like, last year. But Afer's always been there as a quality name. And now he's rising to the top.
I mean, these guys are 2-0. It hasn't been easy, but they are 2-0. They're going up against Karn Co, Connor, who is 2-2, but a very good-looking 2-2.
Yeah, they had some tough losses to both LSR as well as One Shot. So still quality losses, if you will, because they kept that close. And since this team has been under a little bit of a roster change, mainly just goodbye NT, hello Feltwinter, the rest of the team in the core is still strong as ever. Carnage B, Carnage Basketball, you know me loving the IGL, the old man of CL that's been here since the very beginning, and Mikey, Whitlock, and Zeno with a gigantic spotlight on Zeno. Zeno has grown tremendously as a player and has been an absolute joy to watch. You look at the stats he's putting up, he almost has 40 kills through just a couple of games, averaging about 10 kills per map. And that's him on a slight role switch where he was a lot more passive of an entry, sometimes even going towards the flex. But now he's kind of first in the building and confident and looking great.
So with Aqualix, Cookies, what has stood out to you so far with them this stage?
You see it. You Gasher's name out your mouth. Everybody talks crazy about Gasher historically.
Is this where is something coming?
This is where
Okay.
keep Gasher's name out your mouth. Connor, you would agree that we're part of the people that talk about Gasher funny.
We coined the Lake Asher system.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it was a little silly and a little goofy, but it's actually kind of worked well for them this year. Knock on wood. It's been 2 games, Connor. It's still early, but it's worked thus far, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got 4 fraggers and you've got Gasher trying to be the head horseman and kind of making sure that they all know what the heck they're doing. And mainly, you were talking about it, Afer, always an incredibly underrated fragger. And even more underrated has been Psychosis, who's against Game and Gladiators put up Herculean effort. I think he dropped like 15 or 18, something ridiculous. And we even had on the power rankings a couple of days ago, Jameson Kool-Aid Lancaster saying that Psychosis got very far with them in their Parabellum Trout. He had the T1 looks. He almost got there. So now this is his final proving grounds of, hey, this is like a final resume of, I need to go to the league for Psychosis.
Now with Karn,
I didn't know about the Parabellum thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now you do. Now you know. With Karn Co, Connor, I want to put them down, even though they might not be the top ranked team. They got to be one of the most exciting teams in this league.
Yeah, they're very, very fun to watch because you have the Zeno and Feltwinter entry duo and Mikey kind of swapping around, Mr. Michael E, as CJ likes to say. He's actually been taking kind of a flex role almost, and it's been really fun to watch.
Michael E versus Afer. That is going to be primetime television, let me tell you something right there. That's going to be good stuff. And yes, I'm making fun of the Winter came thing. Someone wrote in the previous critical point that Winter's coming about Feltwinter. And Feltwinter, it was like,
yeah,
okay, Winter came, everyone put on their coats. That's it. I need Feltwinter to perform at a biblical level today. Otherwise, it's like, again, it's like I said about Sykes last game. I'm hyping him up about Winter, this and that. He needs to show it. Enough talking about how great he is. Let's see it. Connor, don't you agree?
I agree wholeheartedly.
Better.
Well, speaking of felt winter, maybe a nice winter setting at somewhere like Chalet would suit him. Do you think?
Potentially. I forget Chalets in the winter sometimes. But I guess that's ridiculous.
We just watched an hour of it. How can you forget?
Yeah, there's like snow outside and all that. Let's talk bad stuff. Let's talk business. Let's talk stocks here. You gotta ban a certain set of maps against Gasher's teams. Aqualix just showed. We just talked about how great Psychosis was. That was on Clubhouse last week. You don't want to play that. Cafe, historically. Karn Co's team got 7-0'd by Aqualix last time they played Cafe. Against Aqualix, that is. I mean, so understandable 2 bans from them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Gasher's team is not going to play Bank or Theme Park. Surprising Oregon fan, though. I guess. I mean, that was like instant. I don't know. Connor, you have any pondering?
Yeah, this matchup's really interesting because I feel like both of these teams are very big club and organs, and they both kind of ban each other's immediately. That leaves us all the way down to Villa, which Aqualix looked strong, but not infallible against the Heist. They let the Heist get back into it just a little bit, but for Karn Co, they'd rather see the Chalet come through. Instead, not even take the known quantity of Aqualix's Villa, instead take them over towards Chalet, which has been really hit or miss for kind of historic Gasher system teams.
What's going to be different this time, though? I wonder.
What's going to be different is we're going to see a ton of gunfights between these two. Now, Cookies, I was joking. I was trying to make a winter joke about Chalet, and did I somehow will this into existence, this map pick?
No.
Okay.
Because it was already done before you said that.
Yeah, but I didn't know. So in my mind,
that's true.
Yeah,
that is true. But this is perfect. Perfect because yes, Winter Chalet felt winter. This guy locks Ash like every freaking, at what point is he gonna drop like 20 or something? Locking Ash.
Today's the day.
He's got to share the kills with Mikey and Xena, who are both playing well. But Felt Winter needs to compliment them. If they want to last against this high octane Aqualix team, they need Felt Winter to come back from injury and perform well.
Okay, let's see the predictions. And Connor, another prediction. Do we see another overtime match today again on Chalet?
I think this is a lot closer of a game than, kind of what Game and Gladiators versus LSR should have been. This is like a coin flip. This was a hard one for me to judge, but overall, there's just been more consistency on the side of Aqualix 2-0 as opposed to 2-2. You can't really fault Aqualix for only beating the opponents in front of them. And they're doing it in regulation. They're getting it done nice and easy. No dropped points. And I don't think they're going to drop any more today.
But Cookies, Karn Co, they've faced tougher opponents though so far. Aqualix, their 2 games haven't been as tough of a run.
Karn Company has a larger sample size. Like I previously hinted at, Felt Winter had an injury. He did not play. One of those double O's.
And they won that game. They won that game without him.
We don't talk about that. Indy. Don't give Indy an ego.
Hey, Indy was on the Zofia for the first time in his life and looked good.
Yeah, so I mean, they have a huge sample size compared to Aqualix. But I mean, we're talking about how Aqualix beat a team that in Gaming Gladiators that just took down LSR. Where does that put Aqualix in the mix? Are they for real or are they pretenders? We find out today.
I'd just like to point this out, Connor. Karn Co, every single player on that team, even though they're 2-2, they have above a 1 rating.
Yeah, they're a really consistent team, and there hasn't really been a whole lot of kind of like one singular standout player. It's been kind of rotating around. If one player has a good game, then if he has a bad game, somebody else is able to pick it up. It's led to a really strong roster. But you were saying, what CJ, with the sample size, it's they're 2-2. It's some easy math that they won one of those games without Felt Winter, which means he's a 1-2 player right now. They are a under 500 team with Felt Winter going up against an undefeated Aqualix.
Also, who did you say had all above 1.0s? Did you say it was Aqualix or Karn Co?
Karn Co. Does Aqualix as well?
According to my calculations, Feltwinter's rocking a 0.86. Carnage B's got a 0.79.
Take it up with Siege GG. That's where
Don't look at Siege GG, Brim. That's your problem.
CGG is not using.
That's your problem, Brim. We have a stats team that does a great job, and that stats team, according to their stats,
CGG is not doing the off-stream games. They're only doing the on-stream games.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there you go.
So
on stream. That's
wait. Is this game on stream or off stream? Because I believe it's
on stream.
It's on stream, and guess what? It's also happening right now. We're gonna throw to our casters. We're gonna get this underway, and we're gonna stop arguing. Aqualix going to Chalet to take on Karn Co.
So, I want to be honest with you guys. John and I were, we were just chilling. The desk is doing their thing, arguing like they always do. And then we look, we see how the map ban phase play out. We're like, oh, it's Chalet. That's cool. We're doing another repeat. Wait, didn't Karn Co lose Chalet twice last weekend? 7-3, 7-4, which is why Ferme, I'm switching to Aqualix. You can do that while we're like off the screen. It's fine. But I'm switching to Aqualix because perhaps they've made improvements on this map. I'm not going to say they haven't, obviously. But on a map like Chalet, which I think this new Aqualix roster can do well on, and Karn Co having abysmal results on it, I'm switching teams.
Now, I'm also hoping that I can get my predictions changed too. I already had that in mind. I'm not going to lie. When I did the predictions
John is bandwagoning.
a week ago now, I almost... Hey, don't start me, Carter.
What
this
a
poser.
poser.
Almost a week ago, I had made my predictions and just kind of forgot about them. And then we went back to the match. I'm like, oh yeah, I think Aqualix just looked like a better team.
Are you saying
yeah.
you did not treat the prediction percentage like it defines your value as an analyst?
I might have. I might have just shot myself in the foot right there live on air.
What are you doing?
Well, the
This is
main
going
reason
to the
why I say
performance
that
review.
is because when I did my VOD review, looking back at the one-shot and Karn Co game that was off stream, there were a lot of like basic issues for Karn Co that just really caught my eye. Their inability to get a lot of entries against one shot, their lack of proper droning, which I felt like kind of tied into them not being able to enable themselves to get that opening duel as a win. General map pressure, it just wasn't there in the late or mid round. It would only happen in the early bits of the round, and even then we would just see a immediate clapback by one shot when we saw the conversion down a floor lower. So there were a lot of gigantic problems, just the general playstyle of Karn Co. And again, going on a map that they just haven't found any success on to begin with, it's not a good look for them, I've got to admit. But hopefully they've been able to have time to scrim, kind of fix those problems they've been having constantly, and maybe we'll have my instant change of a side swap be completely for naught, and Karn Co still somehow win this.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Perhaps. Or perhaps we are wrong, and we will look very silly by the end of this game.
Would not be the first time.
Would not be the first time. In fact, I couldn't even tell you what number it is, because it's happened quite frequently in the first 3 days of this stage of Challenger League. Hopefully we fare a little bit better. Starting out for Aqualix, they will, well, start out...
10 seconds remaining.
see what I did there? On Kitchen Dining is their first site. We see a bit of a new pick, at least in terms of the two Chalet matches we've had today. See Gasher go to the Echo. Not an operator. Well, actually, no, we did see him once, because remember we had the Yokai main lobby, so never mind. I was incorrect. Don't think we'll see Gasher do that, though.
Potentially not. Well, this would be a good moment to see if Karn Co's intel game is improved from the last time I've seen them in their off-stream match against One Shot, also on this map, Chalet, like I had mentioned. Already detecting one black eye camera, so there's something that is gonna... Oh, and the Echo drone as well from up top. So Xeno being on this IQ really is playing quite well for them, as they have already denied a lot of that extra intel that Aqualix is bringing to the board early on, so that's not a horrible start at all. And they spot the second Echo drone, too.
It did actually just occur to me that the Valk is unbanned, which is a little bit worrying, especially going up against a team like Aqualix, who, especially because it's Valkyrie, thrive off of that intel being aggressive. But there you go, as you said. Because of that IQ going on the roof, they spot the Yokai, spot a black eye camera, and Xeno can pretty much do that throughout the entire duration of this round, if he were to choose to. So, very big plus going the way for Karn Co right now. See if they lose or they feel a little bit of a hurt in any other the utility department later on. They've only got 2 sets of nades, 2 sets of flashes, so they have to be careful. They don't botch dealing with these ADSs and these Electroclaws.
Already got Feltwinter trying to remove any pressure near piano. Don't think there was any util there, though, so kind of a waste of a Gone 6, but oh well, could be worse. They could waste both their grenades, which are probably much more valuable in this position, as they still need to deal with Aether currently between both the master bedroom and offices, and still having plenty of backup as well. So if we don't really see this process be sped up at all by Karn Co, we really could be in a pretty rough predicament, especially since we still have tons of information on the board, still a few black eye cameras, still a yokai, I believe, as well. Nope, Gasher might be out of them. I could be wrong on that call, but still, tons of intel to work for that first pick, and that is exactly what happens for Aqualix.
Aether down as well behind that shield, so Karn Co, specifically Xeno, able to do quite a lot. Though I believe one of those kills was Karn's, was claimed by him. I don't know what happened there, but it sounded like a nasty team kill from Whitlock. Beautiful shot. Unfortunately, Xeno caught some flack that was undeserving. So all that ground you gained on the top floor, now gone. But Karn knows that there's somebody playing on these library stairs right now, and as they peek out, boom, there goes Slimy Nick down on the floor, motionless the rest of the round. We'll see how well they can do with, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I was going to say something that started with a C, but I can't remember it. Doesn't matter, though, because Gasher through the floor takes down Whitlock, so my own mistakes and Karn Co's play on the top floor erased for the time being, so you have to take a little bit more time to be secure in moving down to that bottom floor. So there's some toxic canisters and some yokais all looking their way right now that they need to be careful about. Karn wants to go for this hatch drop, or if Feltwinter wants to. It's a difficult proposition as this last toxic canister goes out. He's got to drop and lose a little bit of his HP, then sprint straight into that corner under the cover of these flashbangs. Can he make it in time? He's not putting the bomb down just yet. Only now Feltwinter has worked his way to cover, but he's got a good line of sight, but he lets him cross.
Oh,
Rice
no.
gets away from him. He stops the plant in time. Oh, no. What a major misplay on round number 1 as Feltwinter had the winning shot, and he let it slip by.
An unfortunate way to start out the round. Not only a team kill, but not a quick enough reaction time to connect on the head of the smoke, stopping the plant from going down. Man, that did look like a decent start for Karn Co. They were droning everything out. They dealt with some of the roam presence on that top floor. They were getting vert down as well. And although they didn't have a man advantage, they were still equalized and just had to deal with the site presence. But not winning those couple of crucial gunfights really did play a big part, and because there was still somebody in the site in a very strong position, they were able to immediately deny that plant, and there was just no more room left for Karn Co to salvage that position after the smoke had killed the player planting.
Convert, that's the word I was trying to think of.
Ah.
Because I was like, C word, consolidate, coordinate, construct? No!
I was thinking conversion because I've been saying it a lot today.
Well,
I guess that makes
that's
sense.
what I was thinking. In my head, I was like, it's a word. John has said a lot today. I said it earlier. What was it? I couldn't think of it.
Now we know.
Now we know. Doesn't matter, though. Well, I guess it does. Karn Co did not convert successfully. So there we go. To summarize your point. After Aqualix win that round, they'll go to Master Bedroom and Office. Bit of an odd choice. Again, as we said earlier, this doesn't exactly have the highest win rate in all of North America right now, and Bar and Dining is up, or Bar and Games is up, excuse me. We'll see how they can make it work, though, as I have to say, this is a bit of an odd setup. Maybe it's just because we don't see the site too often anymore, but this is certainly something I've not seen employed.
See, one thing I have seen a couple of times here, though, on Chalet has got to be the Zero. A good operator to have that extra burn, secondary hard destruction, and still the ability to flank watch. Especially since we have seen Aqualix go for these roam extensions now, especially on Dining, now doing it as well here for this Master defense. I feel like it's a requirement to have at least something watching your back. And now that already we've seen Karn Co be a bit better with their intel game and now opening duels as well, as Feltwinter lands a great grenade and second one gets tossed out, but Gasher can evade that. Things are looking much better for Karn Co in this matchup, as they're already in a 5 versus 3 in the first minute of the action phase.
An excellent job clearing out that roam and taking down the Pulse, who of course has that C4, but most importantly has that heartbeat scanner that provides just a little bit more intel for Aqualix to play off of. They still have the black eye cameras, and since Karn Co aren't running that IQ, they might be a little bit more difficult to spot, but taking a powerful tool out of the arsenal or off the board for Aqualix is something that you're gonna be happy about, as you still have over half the round to go. Aether, the next to fall is Whitlock outside a bathroom, catches the castle, rotating in or rotating past. Aqualix are forced to get aggressive now, and every time they do so, they're shut down as Rice tumbles down the hatch all the way down below. Slimy Nick in the 1v5 takes a couple shots as he rotates out of bathroom, retakes the angle, but it's Whitlock with the victory. As Karn Co lose the first round in the late game, they pretty much win it in the first 30 seconds.
Having the immediate entries on 2 separate extenders hopping in through both dining room and also kitchen itself, having the grenade play, tons of droning. It's what I talked about in the beginning of the matchup, was actually having the ability to enable yourself to be in an advantageous position. We saw that off the rip by Karn Co. Again, the grenade play was beautiful, and they wasted no time moving all the way back up to the top floor and then just finishing what they started, isolating a couple extra people and just winning their gunfights. So not a great defensive hold by Aqualix in the slightest on that top floor, and now they will go the polar opposite site of the basement to see what they can potentially get away with on this roam game. Probably not having a util base extension, but just people playing up top in both the second and first floor, just running around and eventually having to fall back if required.
Surprise, surprise, you wouldn't expect a different strat on basement. Wouldn't expect a strat that AQ would probably like more, especially with, as you mentioned earlier, Psycho and Aether being added to the roster. Two players who can certainly take up the role of the Vigil if need be, aided by Slimy Nick on those black eye cameras, or with those black eye cameras. He's not going to be on them. It's probably Rice and Gasher. Poor guys are going to be stuck on cam duty inside of the site. We'll see how they can make it work out. One interesting thing, as you can see, we've started to see it more and more. Karn Co bringing that Osa. Saw it a little bit in the previous game, for example, it being put on trophy and then subsequently punched to deny an angle by the defense. We'll see if Karn Co decide to put it there, or if, like, not Aerial Rise earlier, because that was a theme park game, but I believe like a previous team as well on Chalet, don't remember which one, but using an Osa shield outside of one of the reinforcements to help a plant get down later on.
Got Feltwinter already expecting someone to be out near the blue window.
Wow.
Yep,
All
he
right.
expected it, but did not proceed to just fully guard that. It was a drop-down pre-fire by Aether, and it does manage to get rid of Feltwinter early on. The Finka already gone. You still have one set of grenades, but having that LMG off the board is definitely going to weaken your overall ability to get those kills, especially when you have the entire map to clear out. So out of all the people you'd probably want dead for the defense, that's probably one of your top people to have to worry about, besides maybe the Thermite for the hard destruction later on.
There's still plenty of utility that Karn Co can make some good use of, though. They have those Zero cams they can use for flank watch or active intel, depending on how they want to use them. It's a nice thing about Zero. It's very versatile. Those Osas as well. Once you use the Thermite to open up those walls, Osa can be very good in placing down those shields and then just sitting behind and denying entire areas for the defense to play. It is, of course, if you could even get there. There's still plenty of defenders on the roam right now. Two players, the Valkyrie and the Vigil, all still over by Library, but it doesn't really appear that Karn Co are worrying too much about them. Just going down towards the site and trying to clear out this on-site utility.
Having their Talon Shield now deployed. Once they get the wall opened up, they can just have someone sit behind the shield and just watch very passively to make sure nobody can waltz in through blue or connector. That's a good majority of that plant coverage now established. Once they get the wall opened up, but they need to destroy the Electroclaw. Finally, that occurs. Thermite can do his job with the exothermic, and everything is going according to plan. Even coverage to stop the flank on the top floor is working out quite successfully as Mikey finds the refrag on Psychosis, and now we're in the 4 versus 4.
Very long and satisfying shot, might I add, by Mikey to take down the player in main lobby, but there's still a few players around, and Whitlock isn't quick enough to react to Aether taking the fight with him inside of Dining, but as Aether goes for 2, Mikey's still in the same spot he was when he killed Psychosis, so that's an easy 2-piece for Mikey upstairs, but his team is still suffering in the grand scheme of things. Whitlock, of course, fell, same with Feltwinter earlier, but now Zeno is down on the bottom floor, and Karn Co don't exactly have a lot of time and wiggle room to deal with a attacker and a teammate now on low HP. Zeno will pull back a little bit more. He's low on HP, but he'll immediately vault over the Osa shield he just placed. Karn, next to him, takes down Rice. So moving into the site a little bit easier, but the defense, importantly, has retaken the hatch, but it's the trade. As Mikey baits himself, Karn goes in and takes down probably the most important position of the round. Now, all they have to do is find Gasher, and that's pretty easy with Zeno on the cutoff. 2 rounds in a row now for Karn Co.
Still having the man advantage and still having plenty of pristine conditions for, again, that cutoff angle. Once the hatch pressure was gone, there was no genuine way of stopping the plant from being confirmed by Karn Co unless we saw a repeat of someone just failing the actual connection of that headshot, which Zeno was not going to try to have happen like we saw on round number 1 in Dining Room. So a second round here for Karn Co on their attacks, as they, although did not win the first opening duel, they still had enough information to play off of. Their positioning was still spot on. So they just kind of went with the flow of the round, were able to eventually get those refrags and still hold against Aqualix for a very long time and just win based off the fact that there was really not a good position for the Aqualix side to really fall back on to stop the plant from happening again.
Yeah, it's always the issue with basement. If you if a lot of the defenders die on site, or you don't have a lot of positions you can really use, but you have the hatch, well, you gotta hope the hatch works out. And it did until it was traded. And then there wasn't much you could do beyond that. To go back to dining, though, which has been the only successful site for Aqualix so far, albeit, again, it was a victory, and it was a close round overall, but Feltwinter had a prime opportunity to literally end the round, and unfortunately, the opportunity whizzed on by his head. So, could be 3-0 for Karn Co, even on this site, and we'll see what happens. I have to say, though, John, very intrigued as to see why Aqualix are avoiding Bar like the plague right now.
I'm not too sure. Maybe they're not comfortable with having an Aruni, I guess. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you, to be honest, because they still have a very good lineup to play for that site. You got Smoke, of course. He's always great for denial. You've got Jaeger. You've got the Aruni. Castle could be an option as well, depending on how you like to play on that top floor. It really does seem a bit odd as to why they aren't going here. But they are going to return into Dining Room once again, with the exact same style of play. They've got both the Valkyrie and the Echo on the board, and because Xeno is still rocking the IQ, it's going to be instant gratification of spotting out those yokais, destroying them, and just overall weakening that reconnaissance game by Aqualix very early in this action phase once again.
This is just a really good adaptation by Karn Co. Sometimes a risk with bringing that IQ is losing out on utility elsewhere, which I alluded to earlier, and, well, one, with the IQ outside, you can find intel for free. With that, with Feltwinter watching Aether, the moment the Valkyrie swings out, that's a free opening kill for Karn Co right there. They continue on with the rest of their clear, with one kill in their pocket, and not having to do much work now that half of the roamers, or a good portion of the roamers, is off the board.
Don't worry about Psychosis behind the shield. Karn Co are aware of this, though. They can now tailor how they want to push in this next minute 40, still having the man advantage and plenty of grenades along with flashes. So even if there are ADSs to help out with this shield, it is only a matter of time before at least this position gets destroyed, and Psychosis, of course, has to fall back, which is probably what he'll go for. You do not want to risk having this 5-on-3 with top floor control in the pocket of Karn Co, so you need to, at best, maybe just fall back, play more towards the actual trophy stairs, perhaps, and then see what you can get away with, or if you have to completely fall back down to the first floor.
Psychosis still holding on, burning some flashbangs, though, just by sheer existence, but that's the issue. There's the 1, the 2 for the flashbangs, and then number 3 is the follow-through with a nade, and combined all of that with the LMG from Feltwinter, and you've got a pretty successful attack and clear from Karn Co so far. Slimeynick is the only one who seemed to have, or to be able to formulate some answer in response to Karn Co's aggression on the top floor. It was a C4, cut down Mikey, their main vertical player, but thanks to that IQ, they actually have some breaching charge in pocket, and they also have Whitlock on the Buck, who is the main substitution for the sledge anyway, so the breaching charges aren't even really necessary. The only thing really going for Aqualix right now is the time and the combination of these 2 smoke canisters for Rice. But he's in a tricky situation right now. The ceiling is being ripped open above him, and Feltwinter is watching the very angle he needs to cross in order to get back to the site. He'll hold the bottom of the stairs for the time being, and Feltwinter isn't watching. He's rotated off so he can play with the little time he's been given, but if he's not careful and Feltwinter gets back in a position, that's a kill and a 1v3 for the defense, and well, it is a 1v4, but Rice has got to make the play, misses the first pump, and that means he'll have to go back to deal with the site players, doesn't have an angle, and he misses another set of shots. Nothing going Rice's way with either primary or secondary, but everything is looking up Karn Co as they get 3 rounds in a row.
And once again, we just see that self-enabling, I guess. Not even that, actually. We had Aether just willingly go for a swing with the MPX against the LMG. That was the first blood already for Karn Co without that much sweat being put on their brow, and they just continued moving forward after that point. We didn't have any attempt of a fallback, I believe, besides Gasher, who at that point was forced to because it was just an Echo on the top floor by themselves, and they didn't want to meet the same fate as both the Jaeger and Valkyrie player. So they were incredibly low on options once again. Things turned into that 5v2 and then 4v2. We had Vert being opened up. Everything just went completely south for Aqualix, and having, I believe it was Rice on the smoke, just in the middle of trophy room, not able to push back in the site, having to worry about the trophy stairs presence. I mean, it was just multiple things to worry about, and no human is good at multitasking, so I did not expect him to win that 1vx.
He was in the thick of it, unfortunately, inside a trophy with not many options out.
Truly.
Aqualix continue their aversion of bar and games as they go down to basement. Again, it's not exactly like it looked bad for Aqualix. They were able to get the opening pick, set a good pace in the early round, but come the late and come the execute, Karn Co were still able to play the man count and play their positioning very effectively, move in, almost get the bomb down, and only almost because they ended the round. I guess you're right, John. Maybe the only answer I can see is they're not comfortable on it, but it does mean that at least objectively speaking, some of these sites are a little bit more difficult, and they're sites that Aqualix have been having trouble with so far. And in terms of adaptations, I'm not seeing much from the defense.
They're just trying to be more and more aggressive,
Be
and it
more
just
Aqualix.
has been. Yeah, they are really harping on the Gasher system, and that was kind of one point I wanted to make was if we don't see that better mid-round presence by Aqualix, then this could still be a win for Karn Co easily. Because, yes, they have a good early presence. They aren't afraid to go for that opening duel, and there is a good chance they will win that a majority of the time. But in the mid-game, they tend to still get over-aggressive and not give up that Gasher system, and it ends up doing them more bad than good. And we have seen exactly that. We didn't have a fallback at all last round. We had a full commitment to that top floor, and that costed 3 lives against Karn Co, and it left pretty much nothing left on the board for Aqualix to redeem themselves there, despite the fact there was still smoke with only about 40 to 30 seconds left.
Attackers have dropped the bomb.
About a minute and 10 seconds into the clear of the top floor, and it's about the same play-by-play as last time. Karn Co push in, Aqualix fall back. Karn Co push, Aqualix fall back. You have no kill by Afer this time, but active intel on his position results in a pincer by Karn and Feltwinder from 2 different sides of the map, and the Belusi can't escape in time before Afer ends up losing his life. Now Karn Co, again, will do the same thing they did previously, except in better straights. Whereas last time, they were moving down to the bottom floor down a man. This time, they get to go forward, and they haven't even had to really do much work or compensate for lost time or health.
They've got the Nomad this time as well, so there is a good chance they can completely deny that, that first floor rotation by Aqualix to make sure they can play for the hatch, which leaves, again, low options here for Aqualix in this final minute. They've got a crossfire here by Gasher and Rice, but it's only a matter of time before we see that grenade get tossed to break the Kaid Claw, and then the exact same long angle through the big garage hallway be opened up, met by a Talon Shield as well, and that does leave not many positions left for Aqualix to get aggressive to stop a plant from going down if it happens.
Well, they can go for these flanks and just hope that the anchors on site are able to stall out the attack for the final 30 seconds or so. Of course, they've only now just dealt with that Electric Claw, so Karn will have to use a little bit more time. Both Carnage B and his team, Karn Co, will have to burn a little bit more time to open up those breaches and go into the site. Zeno loses a hell of a lot of health, maybe just on a long angle. I'm not too sure where. Still puts him 1 bullet closer, a couple bullets closer, to going into the grave at a time when his team needs him most. Into the red zone now as Karn Co storm into the site and go for that plant. They've got their angles covered. They've got the hatches. They've got the Yosa shield, and not much Aqualix can do to stop this bomb from going down. It does so successfully. The Whitlock goes off the hatch. Psychosis retakes it just a couple seconds too late, and Karn Co with a very quick cleanup once the bomb goes down.
The one thing I noted as well from their match against One Shot is there were a lot of moments where they didn't set themselves up to get a plant down properly, but we have seen that almost every single round where they actually want to go for a plant and don't just need to win the round via kills. We've had the long wall opened up with Talon Shields watching. We've had hatch coverage a couple times as well, if not at least that roam clear pretty much fully accomplished, if not only a remnant of that roam remained, and they had to basically fall back or go for a very risky play in that first floor. And still, tons of util at the ready as well. Cutoff angles, like I had mentioned. I mean, everything is just, it's like a checklist. Like I had mentioned earlier, Karn Co are just following that list step by step and just playing good siege. And it really seems like Aqualix can not find really any break in that armor just yet, because they haven't been that successful overall, except for on round number 1, which again, it just came down to the fact that the timing was slightly inaccurate by the Finka and really nothing else.
Well, it's a nice thing. Karn Co have seen, like, okay, AQ, you're going to run a roam, right? AQ's like, yeah, of course, we're Aqualix. And they're like, all right, cool. Bye. And AQ's like, but you're going to come fight us, right? You're going to come take gunfights with us, right? Like, we're not just going to sit over on this side of the map by ourselves. Oh, you are? Oh, man.
5 seconds left.
And they sit and they're sad. Because Karn Co are like, all right, you guys can do your thing over there, and we'll just kind of chill doing our thing over on this side of the map and down towards the site. And Aqualix have, as you said, struggled in the mid-round especially to rotate and adapt to that. Now, the final round of this half. Is it bar? No, it's not. It's dining once again. Or is that Master Bit of an Office? I actually can't tell.
Believe it is Master.
Okay.
It's on the top floor.
I was just checking.
Even,
I don't know.
all good. All good. It is weird that we are not seeing bar. Maxon, of course, confirmed that we are heading to the top floor site, so I appreciate that. But yeah, it does seem a little off. that Aqualix do not want to go the literal best site when they've got all the util in the world to use and no Flores to deal with, but they are still going to extend near mezzanine. They've got Afer getting aggressive. The grenade only does a smidge of damage towards the castle, so he can still sit here for a little while longer. The second nade does way more damage, but it doesn't kill him.
Okay.
At least the bullets through the soft wall can do the trick. Whitlock on the upside on Repel will get the opening duel as a win for Karn Co once again, and things are overall smooth for him. Yet another round on their attacks.
Yeah, I'm not praying on Afer's downfall right there. I'm just amazed that nade didn't kill him. So, almost made it out, but Whitlock's able to clean it up in the end. So, again, another round where Karn Co are able to get the opening pick pretty dominantly and just move on forward. Feltwinter, by the way, though, was Whitlock that time. Feltwinter has been very active in the opening duels. I believe he's 3-1 right now, and Karn Co overall, only 2 rounds where they have faltered in getting that opening pick, and, well, it's looking like this might be a 5-1 half if we keep with the positive trend they've had in the early rounds so far. I've already cleared out Library, starting to put some pressure on Piano, and Aqualix, we're still yet to see what their adaptation is beyond maybe Slimy Nick's vertical play, though that might just be it.
Even then, we still have Feltwinter watching with great patience, making sure that if the actual play underneath does be attempted, he could probably deny it. The LMG against the MPX is a very winnable position. The Black Eye camera now shot. Slime cannot immediately go for the wide swing. Most likely have to play a bit more passive, but still, eventually the attackers have to approach the defenders. So it's not the worst position overall by Aqualix, but they are still at the man disadvantage. So they really need to pick the almost perfect moment to go for those swings to try to equalize, because if they overextend once again, this could easily turn into a 5-on-3.
And maybe their utility can do the talking, though Rice is starting to get low on toxic canisters. Just 1 left, though he is wasting time, and there's not exactly a lot for Karn Co to work with. If he's got to use his final one, we have to hope those C4s land or don't get shot out of the air. Mikey doesn't deal with one. All that's left is the important secondary and primary utility, and Rice gets active not with utility, but with his gun, alongside the smoke as coverage, to take down Xeno sitting outside of Piano. Currently 1 downstairs. Slimy Nick going for a flank as well. Rips that C4. Goes up under heaven. Does he blow it in time? No, it doesn't. It goes silent, and nobody loses any HP as Karn and Mikey say, okay, it's time to go. It's time to move into the site. Mikey, you cover me. I'll get the bomb down, and this should be job done all quick, as the other C4 misses as well. None of the utility is landing at the exact time Aqualix wants, or even in the exact position. Nice shot by Psychosis, but there's still a lot to deal with for Karn Co if he wants to get a 4-2 half for his team. Some very light intel onto the general position of a Karn Co player. They've all pulled back, and they can play off each other. Sure, Karn's tucked around the corner and has to be careful, but there's Whitlock playing with his contact, and it doesn't even matter, as Karn takes down Psychosis, who turns his back to the site. 5-1 half for Karn Co, as they struggled a little bit in round number 1, but in the end, I think that might have just been a missed opportunity more so than a real misplay.
Yeah, and I really have to, I guess, really commend the amount of trust I've been seeing so far by Karn Co. They were fully committing to go in for that plant, not trying to change their position whatsoever, although they didn't fully clear out all of Piano for a good chunk of time. I mean, they were just so confident that despite the fact there's still Valkyrie underneath and that there was a lot of util on the board to slow them down, they still needed to go in for that plant, and everything just went according to plan once again for Karn Co. A 5-1 split and almost 6-0, because like we've mentioned a couple times, Carter, that almost was a win for Karn Co in round number 1. I mean, that is just such a bold statement how we already could have seen match point, and we had a really good thought that Aqualix would take this matchup in a decent fashion, but so far they have really been on the back burner.
Yeah, we are looking quite foolish going forward. Surprise, surprise, by the way. AQ do the thing that they do and nobody else does. They pick a silly lineup, then they switch to their actual one. I don't know why nobody else does this, or why, I guess, flip it. Why specifically AQ is the one that does it, but it's always funny to me, so I always bring it up. And also, another funny thing, John, what side are we?
I think that is. Let me go look through my notes.
Yeah, hold on.
It's not basement.
I gotta pull up Sternap's
It's
blueprints.
It's
What
not
is the
dining
site called on this
room.
map?
Not master. Is this bar and games?
I think
room? Is
I
bar
think
and
it
gaming?
might be bar and gaming.
On a chalet match.
I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking right now, but I might need to get Coppin in here, see what the admin ruling is. Is this even allowed?
Karn Co are just getting silly with their strats right now.
Yeah.
They are truly feeling themselves.
Might as well
Wow.
switch maps and go to bar stock at this point. Like, I mean,
Might be on the drawing board later, perhaps. But for Aqualix, They are opting to go in for, I would guess, a pretty normal push. They've got at least Psychosis out on main balcony. You could probably rotate later on to go into big window of library, open up that mezzanine wall to get rid of anyone in chimney. But they also have the Maverick on the board too, which can allow for someone to late rotate fireplace, open up that bar stock wall, and maybe silent walk down through blue hallway as well. It's a very dangerous position, and losing out on those grenades could be huge for the attack. But sometimes, when you have that element of surprise, you can work that pick and maybe get more aggressive and towards the bomb site rather than having to fully clear out the top floor. But with the Habana and multiple flashes and grenades, I feel like we're still going to have Aqualix take or want to take full control of this top floor.
Yeah, it's like when in Rome, go for a full clear. That's the saying I've always heard, and that's what I believe Aqualix should probably stick to with all those nades and all those flashbangs that they have. They do have to worry about some players on the Rome, as we saw Karn Co have castled off a good portion of that master bedroom and office side, and Xeno is currently playing over there, so they do need to keep that in the back of their mind, and well, as of right now, it's looking like a rotation from Aqualix. See a couple players going over towards library side, and Psychosis spots the smoke peeking out for just a second. It's still Gasher with the first one, though. It's Karn, who I believe was also alongside Xeno on that side of the map, and, well, doesn't matter in the end because they're both gone, and I know Xeno is over there.
Oh, Mikey getting full flashed as well. They could push it on the smoke. Not too sure if he's able to fall back just yet because his vision is very impaired. Yep, I believe he's finally been able to move down a little bit more. Still, though, 5 versus 3, a bit of util already being expended off the board of the defense, and really only having Feltwinter be this aggressive right now, they're just able to spot out the low Malusi. They could easily just tag team this poor soul, and that would bring things into an immediate 5-on-2 in these last 40 seconds.
Not going for it yet. Gasher instead just opening up the floor. Mainly Feltwinter has to deal with a torrent of bullets firing over his head. He'll dodge it and go back down the library stairs. Whitlock hoping that Aqualix get a little bit careless and walk in front of that hatch without aiming down at him. Maybe he'll get a kill there. Mikey's facing the most pressure by any metric in this round, as so many bullets and so many guns are trained in this position inside of stock. Same could be said for Whitlock once Mikey fell. And now all that's left is Feltwinter, who was alone for a good portion of the late round, but with only one kill, has got to get the rest, and it's not possible. Slimy Nick prones outside a mudroom, and Aqualix take their first round since round number 1.
And I guess the Gasher system working quite well. They got the first 2 opening picks. They were still gathering tons of information. They had a drone in the middle of bar stock just out in the open, which fed tons of information to make sure they were able to kill the guy in the middle of stock. So that was a very good start for Aqualix on their attacks, but they still have a lot of rounds to claw back through in order to, at the very least, equalize 5-on-5. We'd have to get to plus 10 rounds to see that happen, Carter. And I mean, Karn Co, they just need a couple of really strong defenses here. They need to make sure that they can either force Aqualix to self-stall, and then that allows more of their issues to occur during like the mid to late round to shine once again, or we just have them to actually better match the aggression we've seen early by Aqualix, because on their attacks, the aggression has been favoring them so far.
Very oddly placed timeout by Karn Co. Just given conventional wisdom, you lose a few rounds, you take a timeout. That's like generally what we see. Here, perhaps it's just to break Aqualix's momentum after they win a round on bar. Pretty solid one at that. They're able to get a lot of the kills early on, and the entire setup that Karn Co were going for were pretty much nullified by the end of the round. Here, maybe they take that timeout, they go to another site, master bedroom and office, and Aqualix, they don't have they can't immediately get into the action like they were. They have to take a breather, and they might cool off just a little bit and also give Karn Co some time to discuss what they did wrong on bar. They will go to master bedroom and office, which, as we've mentioned time and time again throughout today, is not great sometimes. But Karn Co have already showed us they like to bring something a little bit unique when it comes to that top floor, or at least something different than the standard. We'll see another, or at least a little bit of a difference here. John, we have a Goyo who received a change, as I'm sure we all know, but we've not actually seen too much of in Challenger League up to this point.
Still a decent operator, just used for the different kind of stall. Instead of having those shields be a very big problem, he no longer has shields, but instead these still Vulcan packs, which waste about 20 seconds a pop, 4 in total. That is a lot of time, 80 seconds in total. So depending on where they're placed, and if you have a very sluggish team, which Aqualix can be, especially if they don't find that opening pick early in the round, you could have an entire portion of the map just completely cut off, and that could allow for a lot of funneling to occur for Aqualix. So I'm honestly a huge fan of the Goyo pick here for Karn Co. That could be a great way to punish some of the mistakes Aqualix have made in the past in some of their earlier matches.
Psychosis creeps his way up the basement stairs. Aqualix likely know that Feltwinter is playing inside of stock right now. So they'll put themselves in positions to start pinching him out. drones continuously flying in as well. Feltwinter probably not making it out of this one alive. Might be able to get one as he goes away. There we go. Psychosis walks right into his crosshairs, so he gets at least one. Now he's worked himself in a little bit better of a position, just tucked outside or next to this window. Might catch somebody jumping in as the drones came out earlier. They did the easy part, but now is a matter of actually seeing where Feltwinter has rotated to. Now on that window, he'll take some shots with Slimy Nick on the rappel, but unfortunately that was a little bit of a misplay right there. Still lost Aether early on, so Aqualix might have got one, but they've lost two in turn.
Matching the aggression with aggression, though. One of the couple of things I mentioned Karn Co might be able to accomplish here in order to hard stall Aqualix. They've lost a good chunk of grenades, a lot of information as well. Only 2 drones in total, with the Geminis now off the board as well because Aether is dead. That does allow for a lot more potential flanks here by Karn Co. Or not Karn Co, sorry, I was correct the first time, by Karn Co, sorry. And also just general roam, longevity as well. They just don't have a lot of room to breathe here, Aqualix, so they have to almost position themselves in such a way where they either can go for the refrag or just try to find a bunch of kills in terms of success and maybe just try to push the site directly, which is what they're opting for now because they don't really have a lot of resources to clear out the roam game, so they have to completely forget about it at this point and just hope and pray that this solar push actually works.
Holding down the bottom of Solar Stairs is a very good position if they want to try to make this work. See if anybody with a C4 rotates down below, could get you a cheeky pick, but don't have a long time, unfortunately, to spend waiting for a kill to present itself. Slimy Nick hits down from below, and Mikey's like, okay, enough of that. Now I'm focused on where the rest of the attack is coming from, and there's not much they can do as Karn goes huge on top of Solar Stairs. Match point for Karn Co, John. Match point. And it's looked like it hasn't really cost them much effort.
Doesn't seem like it, Carter. It has been just simple adaptation by Karn Co or nothing changing at all because their attacks look pretty much the same every single round. We have made this point a couple times. I'll say it again. There was a high chance we saw 6-0 there in that first half. And now moving on the defense on a more attacker-favored map, they've only given away a singular round against Aqualix on this half. So that timeout really working wonders. They just had better team cohesion. They were able to match the aggression that Aqualix tends to show in their matches, and then they were still able to comfortably fall back on the anchor presence. They had those Vulcan packs in order to waste a bunch of time and still be able to swing at strong moments or to win out their gunfights and now force Aqualix in match and series point like we have both mentioned, Carter.
Remember when we predicted Karn Co?
Bomb located by
Yeah. I bet this is not looking good for us now. Maybe we pretend we never said anything about Aqualix.
Who?
Is that a good idea?
Who?
Exactly. I think Fermi knows what to do. Clearly.
I mean, I'm not saying. Listen, I would never advocate breaking the rules when it comes to the sacred prediction elo, but like, if a glitch were to happen behind the scenes and suddenly, we picked Karn Co, I think a lot of parties could benefit from that kind of transaction. That's all I'm saying.
Think so too.
You scratch my back, I
right.
scratch yours, kind of thing.
Perhaps. Might be,
He's picking up what I'm putting
now
down.
scratching Karn Co's back instead of Aqualix's back now, I guess, huh?
True. I mean, they've been scratching their own back. It's been a pretty chill series so far. Had some trouble in round 1. Had an actual good round, a truly good round by Aqualix in round 7, and then in every other one, it's been a lot of Karn Co. Even if the round came down close, it's not like Aqualix have been a complete snoozers, but definitely leaving a lot to be desired since two whole members of production decided to switch their votes in confidence of Aqualix performing in this series today. Psychosis did go up short fairly quickly and might have been able to get a kill on a Xeno if he was a bit luckier. They had intel on his position, but he backs off after shooting some holes in that wall, and Aqualix will get on with the rest of their normal clear.
First man off the board here. Still trying to deal with this pressure, leading all the way in from bathroom, closet, and also the player of Mikey up inside of master bedroom. We've got Aether just slowly watching around in case they don't want to get over aggressive near like the dining hallway, but that's probably not going to happen. So everything pretty normal so far for Aqualix. Still have plenty of utility to properly burn through all these ADSs, but we do have a heavy stack up by Karn Co once again, so they can match that aggression. If one player does, in fact, end up dying, there is a high potential for some sort of trade, and that would once again really slow down Aqualix. But even before we have any opening gunfights occur, it's been the first half of the action phase actually completely gone, and not a single breath has been really taken against either of these players so far, Carter.
John, stop the presses. Gasher just took some damage from an electro claw.
That just changes everything
you were
now.
Wrong. You were incorrect. He just took damage right as you were saying it. Also, more importantly than me joking, he actually opened up the wall as well. But it actually just opens up another avenue for Feltwinter to get a kill. Just kidding. That was on the top floor, not the bottom floor. Psychosis not having the best game so far. Falls prey to the Jaeger's 416. Now somebody starts pushing up to try and compensate for the lost advantage. But Xeno takes down Rice. There's only one player on the top floor and two down below. And no angle for Aqualix are really finding any purchase in the armor of Karn Co right now. Feltwinter can take a fight with Gasher outside the main door, because what the hell is he going to do? Kill 3 people in a matter of seconds? No, unlikely. Even Aether hitting the back, he gets one, but it expends all of his HP, and Gasher falls as Xeno peeks the main door. John, Connor, CJ, and I don't want to make a prediction. Aether might be able to clutch this 1v4, but I think we all might be looking a little bit silly at the end of this game, as Aether gets one, but Whitlock rounds it out. 7-2 for Karn Co. The best result they've had on Chalet, both in terms of that it's an actual victory, and it's the best scoreline we've seen.
Well, probably one of the fastest games we've had occur today, but one that Karn Co are most definitely happy with, I'd have to admit. Finally getting the bag on Chalet, like you had mentioned, Carter, and also just kind of beating Aqualix at their own game. We saw a lot of opening duels as a win there for Feltwinter, and really they just took Aqualix to their home turf, I guess now, as I guess Chalet is their new home, and they just completely walloped them. So that was a incredibly strong showing by Karn Co, and I'm glad they were able to fix a lot of problems that we were able to highlight constantly by them in week number 1.
I'm not. I'm bitter. I switched and picked Aqualix, and they lost. What is this? No, in all seriousness, I mentioned this actually, I believe, last week as well. I'm happy at the turnaround Karn Co have made in this year, and even though they are struggling, now in hindsight, they lost to LSR and they lost to One Shot. Worse things can happen to you in a stage of Challenger League. But, like some worse things, a 7-2 loss on a map that tends to favor you sometimes, that's one thing that, unfortunately, Aqualix have to go home with, and something that the desk can break down right now.
So, I guess you could say Feltwinter put on his winter tires and drove on through that winter wonderland of Chalet just fine. Connor, Cookies, I think you guys owe him an apology. He's now 2-2 with this team.
Yep, that's on me. We said winter was coming. Well, winter came, saw, and conquered. Karn Co looked incredibly well-structured, well-oiled, and their OSA play was insanely fun to watch, especially on those basement sites, because they were really showing how broken OSA can be in the right hands, and even more of a broken op than an operator that we actually saw not banned, that we typically are like, oh, Valkyrie got left up. They completely mitigated Aqualix's game plan of, hey, let's do a bunch of info. Brought the IQ, destroyed all those cams like instantly, and CJ is just rocking the shades.
We've replaced CJ with Flores, apparently.
So let me tell you just about how sorry that performance was from Aqualix. It was just sorry, top to bottom. Aether, this was a marquee matchup, buddy. It disappeared. He just disappearing act. It's like 3 and 40. I don't know. He no impact. Also, we got to talk about the setups. For example, on Master Bedroom, Gasher's team is like all in on Kitchen, trying to hold Kitchen. They're just broadcasting to everybody that they're playing below with the C4 with Pulse. And naturally, Karn, with his melon brain, he goes in and says, all right, bet, and clears it like it's nothing. I will say, what I liked out of Aqualix, they were bringing the Valk. You see 2 different people main Valk. I don't know if that's a glitch or if that's actually what happened. But they tried to use info. They tried to play the game properly. They just got slammed. Point blank and simple. And yes, I apologize to Feltwinter. I'm not gonna lie to you. I called him midwinter, and I didn't think you would be able to do that. Okay?
I think he heard you, and it upset him.
I think he heard me hating. To be honest, and you know that's fine. Feltwinter, I'm sorry. I apologize profusely. Please accept.
Well, you know who can pass that apology along is Mikey. I'll let him know for you.
All right.
Mikey, first and foremost, Cookies would like to pass along his apology to Feltwinter for calling him Midwinter because holy,
I mean,
that might have been one of the most impressive showings we've seen so far this stage by any player. What is he doing different right now to be hitting stats like that?
I mean, people still forget it. He was sick for a whole week, you know? He couldn't be stat padding, and today he was stat padded. What can I say? He's the GOAT.
I mean, he's still sick, but just in a different way. Okay, 7-2. Aqualix, they might not be projected as like the top team, but they're up there, and you guys just made quick work of them. What's going on with you guys today? Because you were just firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, we lost Chalet a couple times this season already, so we knew we had to do something to fix it, and we did. We put in the hard work. We fixed that map, and boom, problem solved. I own Gasher every time, never lost one, so never will.
There you go. You heard it here. And then finally, Carnage B. Like, we forget, like, Feltwinter is good, but Karn, he popped off today as well. He was doing everything for the team.
I mean, Karn, he's the glue to the team. You know, he holds us together. He's the IGL. He's the GOAT. Like, he's the father of the team, and he's literally the best player, and people sleep on him.
Yeah. Well, there's not much more to say. This was a crazy showing. I gotta say, you're my front runners now as far as win or lose. I'm looking forward to every Karn Co game. Thank you, Mikey. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Brimstone.
Probably tomorrow, I assume.
Yes, it's Twist turn.
Ooh, okay. Here I am, guys. I'm trying to give an interview here, and I'm just getting laughter in my ears. Okay?
I love
You know how
Mikey interviews so much.
I have to
love
say,
them
I do
so
too.
much.
Yeah.
I forgot
Okay.
roast beef there.
Okay, that was a quick one, and you know what else we need is a quick break. We're gonna throw to it right now. When we come back, we've got West Garfield Park taking on ATK. Don't go anywhere. It'll be the final match of the day.